All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is Saturday, May the 13th, 2017, and the title of today's webinar is Using ObjectTrader to Maximize Your Profits. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? We'll go ahead and get started. Bear with me a second. You should be able to see a chart coming up, and I'm going to go ahead and ask the team just real quick, and this may be a little bit of a trick question. Okay, what is the direction of the trend that I have on this chart right now? I know we go over this quite a bit, but we get new people in. Yeah, it's short, right? But I want to show you something too to keep in mind as you're trading, because some of our best traders do just this. All right, notice that you've got a downtrend, right? I just put lightning 3 on the chart. Well, lightning 3 is already showing that it's short to begin with, right? With our power meter. So, you know, it's looking at this and it's saying, okay, we're short. Okay, but now look at power meter 1 and 2, and you'll see that you've got a little bit of an uptrend. Okay, now some of the most aggressive traders we've got will actually watch this, get a higher low, put a little trade in and get these quick little scalps, not paying attention to the background as much. But another way to trade this, of course, is the rollover. Okay, and that's what we teach in lots and lots of our webinars, practically every single one of them. Now today we're going to basically talk about obviously ObjectTrader. Now ObjectTrader is a tool that we designed here at Viper Trading Systems roughly about 2.5 to 3 years ago, I do believe. And it started out, at first, we were just going to make it into like a little region trader, you know, where you could just box in and take trades. But as I like to have things evidently a little bit more complicated, we went from a region only. I think at the first we had a region and we had a ray and we had a time trade, and that was it. Okay, the region, I think everybody knows, is just simply a box that we draw. That's what you'll see Charles drawing in the room all the time. Well, I draw it, but you know, we talk about where it's going to go and everything between us. You know, whether you want a tight box or a little bit looser box, and that's what we use that for. Now, ObjectTrader was designed for every trader out there to try to make money every single day in trading. You'll probably notice that if you go to a lot of trading rooms, they'll pretty much, you know, have a dome, and they'll say, okay, I'm going to get short at, you know, 48 to give an example. I'm going to give it a 20 tick stop. Well, we don't do it exactly that way. And the reason we don't, and we're quite successful at this, is because we do rollovers for shorts and we wait for the resumption in buying on longs. And when you use something like ObjectTrader, there's not an exact entry because you're drawing that box, okay, or you're using bar close. So for instance, in the room, if we say, I'm going to take a bar close to the downside, that means that I'm going to use bar close to short it. Okay, now let's go over a little bit about ObjectTrader real quick. First off, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here on the parameters. Let's see here. We'll just go ahead and pull it up as a strategy. I'm going to bring it over so we can see everything about it. That should be enough to see all the parameters. All right, and then I'm going to click on it. Now, if it's already on the chart, you'll notice that it's grayed out. Okay, now for any strategy to work on NinjaTrader, you have to have data going. Okay, I'll show you here. We do have data going. Otherwise, when you right click to strategies, if you don't have data going on your chart, it's going to be grayed out. Notice how strategies was black when I first pop that on there. Okay, that means that I can actually put a strategy on this chart. See, that's black. It's not grayed out. Now, this can only be grayed out for basically two reasons mostly, and that is if you don't have your data feed on, or if you have ChartTrader on your chart. Okay, let me show you what would happen if I had, I'll just take ObjectTrader off, and we'll remove it. And if you have ChartTrader on, all right, whether it's active like this where you see it on the side of the chart, or if you even have it minimized, ChartTrader is still on that chart. See that little arrow right there? I get more phone calls on this because people will say that are new, I can't get a strategy on my chart. And ObjectTrader is a strategy. So you have to make sure ChartTrader is not on your chart. Now, you can go to the little icon up here for ChartTrader, or you can even go into properties. You'll notice if you go to properties, it's saying that ChartTrader is true. Okay, that's because it's on right now. You can do it here even if you want, and click apply, and it'll be gone. Okay, and you can even set this as false so that it won't come up on your charts automatically too. But always remember to take ChartTrader off your chart. Simply click it off. See how the little arrow disappeared? And if I have it active fully like this, then of course you can see ChartTrader. Okay, now ChartTrader is NinjaTrader's ObjectTrader, so to speak, except it doesn't trade objects. It simply does buy, sell. You can buy at the ask, sell at the ask, buy at the bid, or sell at the bid, reverse a trade, and close out a trade. That's basically what ChartTrader does. And then it's got ATM strategies that you can design. Well, we looked into this when we were building ObjectTrader, and we said, you know what, this is great, except, you know, to build custom strategies and all this kind of stuff, you know, you basically, you have to just go through and, you know, say, okay, I want, you know, like 3 targets or whatever, and you build your strategy and you name it. Well, we thought, how about something that would do this all more automatically? So we did away with using ChartTrader in our room, and we use a tool called ObjectTrader. ObjectTrader, there's one other reason, by the way, that you can not have ObjectTrader too. If you have a broker paid for, like where it's free NinjaTrader, which some brokers offer, as a rule, they will not offer you to be able to use strategies. Okay, and if you ever have this grayed out and you've got data on and you've also got ChartTrader turned off and this is still grayed out, then you need to pay for a live version of Ninja, or you cannot use ObjectTrader. Okay, and usually as a rule, those are going to be a lot more trimmed down, so to speak. Like when you go to tools, you don't even have edit Ninja script and stuff like that if you actually have a free version of NinjaTrader. Now NinjaTrader, anybody that's got the live version that they've paid for at one time or another, or they even lease, they get the full version of NinjaTrader. But some brokers do, you know, dummy this down, so to speak, to where you can't have strategies. Okay, so if you ever run into that, just call us and we can walk you through how to fix it. All right, now let's go ahead and put ObjectTrader back on. Remember, it has to be black here, so we're going to simply click on strategy. You'll notice that I don't have a lot of strategies. Now I go into a lot of computers and people have like this whole thing just filled with strategies. And if you think about that, you know, which one are you going to choose at a particular time? You know, you've got all these strategies on there from other vendors and things like that. And, you know, some are based on CCI, MACDs, you know, moving averages, whatever it might be. But you've got to kind of pick how you want to use whichever one you're wanting to use that particular time. All I do is simply ObjectTrader. Okay? And ObjectTrader, like I said, we designed to be a region type trade and all those other type trades that we have on our charts. Now let's go through just a little bit of the parameters that are on ObjectTrader, just so everybody will know what's offered in it. Okay? Now, when ObjectTrader is being used in your real account, you'll notice that it goes to an active color on the SIM. Instead of, see, non-SIM background is going to be like a dark sea green. Okay, now we're using replay today, so it's going to just simply be this little gray background instead. Now you can change this background to any color you want it to be, but I would highly recommend using even this display your account name for yourself. You know, now if you're showing this to friends and things like that, you might not want them to see your account number, but all you got to do is just simply set that to true, right click and set it as your default, and it'll always show your account number at the bottom of ObjectTrader. I'll go ahead and leave this on because I'll show you that it'll say replay 101. If you had your account, of course it'll show it instead. Now since this is going to be a not a non-sim account, it's going to be just grayed out. Okay, now you've got all kinds of things you can change in here. You can change your opacities, your colors. You know, some people are actually a little bit more color challenged. Charles, to give an example, is if I put a green box on for a region on the chart, he can't see it very well. Now blue, no problem. Okay, so you can choose anything you want in here, but just you can click on any one of these and you can see, you know, what it actually does. It's just basically, you know, just tells you down below about the same thing that's in the box. It's just strictly, you know, what this is in each parameter. So, you know, what you'll want to do is really familiarize yourself with everything that's in these parameters, okay, as far as colors and things like that. All right, now down here in the line text position, to give an example, this just simply means that your prices and everything will be on the left. You can choose to put that on your right if you want to. Okay, that puts your prices where it won't get, you know, mixed up in your bars and things like that. You also have a line length that you can do with ObjectTrader. That's the line length for your entries, your targets, and your stops. Okay, if you want it out of the way, for instance, like way over on the chart, you know, choose like 40% or something like that. This is basically saying right here that it's 25%, which is going to be about, you know, 25% of that chart is going to put those prices. All right. Now, one of the most important things that I like to personally do, and I put this in default today just to show this, but you want to set your targets at what you want them to be. Okay. And you can right click and save that as your default, whatever you set this at, or you can set it as a template. A lot of people like to use the template, and the template is right here. You can actually save a template. Okay, just like any load, save, and remove. Okay, now let's go back up to here. Let's say that I want to scalp. We've got one of our traders in the room that really likes to trade those boxes at the open. And he basically started out doing a couple of contracts and just going for 5, 6, 7 ticks, I think is what he basically goes for. Okay, if you're going to do something like that, then what you want to do is, if let's say that you wanted to do 3 contracts, to give an example, and you wanted to do 2, say for 5 ticks, and the third one maybe you do want to try to go ahead and get like 15 as a run or something like that. Well, you can do it that way. Just target 1, target 2 is 5. 3 contracts would be first, second, and then third target. If you wanted to do all 3 at 5, you just simply put that like that. And if you did 3 contracts, it would kill all 3 trades at 5. It would fire the order and get you out. Now, the way ObjectTrader works on these targets, 1, 2, 3, and 4, is it rotates. Okay, so whatever I have set, I'll go back to the regular setting on it real quick. Let's go ahead and go back to where we were. Okay, let's say if you put 3 contracts on the way this is set up right now, it would do target 1, target 2, and target 3. Okay, if you did 4 contracts, it would do all 4 of these targets. But if you did 5 contracts, the way it does is it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back to the first one. So that would be your 5th one. So in other words, you would have 2 contracts on this, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, it's always going to roll to the nearest, for instance, if it gets through number 4, it's going to go back to number 1. Okay, if you turned off target 4 on ObjectTrader, to give an example. I'll show you how to do that. If you turn this off and you set this for 5, then this would do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So you'd have 2, 2, and 1. Okay, everybody get that so far? Because that's pretty important. Because when you're using ObjectTrader, you're going to want to set that the way you want it to fire. Any questions on that thus far? I think most of our people have that because they've had ObjectTrader for a while. We've got people here on kind of a summer open house invitation, even coming this next week. So I wanted to be sure and show that, because even with their trial version of it, they can still use it just like we do in the room with our live trades. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that I want to get ready to more than likely short this, because it sure looks like a short, right? We don't have the actual chart up just yet, but we'll pull it up in just a minute. But what would I actually want to do with that? Let's say with oil that maybe I want to do 3 contracts, but I want to get 2 targets for 5 and 1 for 10. Okay? Everybody want to put in target 1, target 2, and target 3? So I want to put 5. Yep, some people are putting it in. I want to put 5 on target 1, 5 on target 2, and 10 on target 3. It'd be that easy. And then I would get a $200 bill if I happen to get my 5, 5, and 10. Now there's another way that I like to trade this too, and that is go with the trend and use that PM trader. See, we just designed this new PM trader just recently, and I'm going to go over first how to use region, then bar close, and then we're going to talk about these PM trades, because this is getting to be one of my favorite trades. I like it a lot because it gets you out of a trade before they retrace so much, because you can always get back in. Okay, and then we're not going to talk about Ray as much today, or even Sniper. And time trade is just simply a region that comes up at a particular time. Okay, and once we get this new one out to you, I think you'll really like to use time trader at that 7:59 time in the morning, where you can get some of these nice trades. But go with the trend, you know, as a rule. Now, if, you know, for instance, let's say, looking at this chart right now, to give an example, it looks like we're above our swing right here, doesn't it? Okay, but what would we want if we were going to actually look more for long trades on this? We'd probably want to break up above here, pull back and kiss, and hold, and then shoot up, right? Now, we don't know if it's going to do that yet, but so far it is trending a little bit more to the upside. But let's look at our predictors. Okay, it's right at a predictor. All right, that is a white predictor with magenta below, so that means that our midband is actually magenta colored, or even red, okay, because, well, that's called our dynamic trend, right? So let's go to the actual chart and see if we can trade it with a tool that we call ObjectTrader. And again, ObjectTrader was designed so that traders could use these type of trades live on their own charts, and they can choose how they want to trade it. Regions, PM trades, you know, the region being a box-in trade, and of course your bar close. Now, I've listened to several of Charles's webinars recently, okay, and he talks about, you know, how naturally a lot of times bar close does not work, right? Well, when I draw a line in the room on the chart, that's usually at a really good, for a short, to give an example, a good resistance area, okay? Those type, I'll use bar close in a heartbeat, okay? Now, you don't want to just use bar close anytime. You know, to give an example, let's say that, I don't know, let's say that this decides to go below this support here, or even below this one here. Could we short this? And the answer would be yes. Now, I've got lightning 2 on this chart. Let's go ahead and put lightning 1 also, just so we can see what it's doing. Looks like it's doing about the same as lightning 2. See, it's just right here. You haven't gotten that thrust. It's probably buried with that line right there. If I got rid of lightning 2, you'd see it. See there? Okay. Now lightning 1 is a little bit more, it basically fires a lot quicker. But keep in mind that lightning 1 is just simply a 4-range bar up, a 4-range bar down, a 4-range bar up, 4-range bar up, 4-range bar, 4-range bar, 4-range bar. And all it does is just zigzags. Okay, where lightning 2 is a little bit more, a little bit stronger trend. Okay, to give an example, like right now, lightning 2 is right down here. You'd have to wait to take that trade if you were using power meter to break that line right there. Where 1 may be a little sooner than that. We'll actually check it and see. Let me just take lightning 2 off and we'll leave lightning 1 on. All right. So let's look at the actual chart and see what we've got. And we're going to use this tool called ObjectTrader. Bear with me just a second. Okay, and by the rule that we like to trade, we'd probably already be short on this, wouldn't we? Because it hit a predictor and there's your second bar, right? Okay, well let's see if we can get a trade. Let's just go ahead and we'll put ObjectTrader on. And I'm going to go ahead and do a 5-5, or let's do 5-6, or even 5-7, something like that. And let's go ahead and do a runner. We'll just start our runner out at 20 because we can always move it. All right, and let's use, if this was to break this little support area right here, this would be a power meter 2, it looks like, because you've got 2 bars down, so that's at least a power meter 2, and you got 2 bars up, so that also kicks that one in. And right now your short would be right there. Okay, so let's see if we can use, or do you want to use the region? We can use the region instead. Okay, let's, several people said region first. Okay, now the new region, and by the way, if I don't get this script ready within the next couple to 3 days max, we're going to release it as it is, and I'm going to tell you today exactly what's wrong with it that you can compensate for as you trade, because the newest version that I've got still has a couple of little problems in it, and they've got to be fixed since we added these new PM trades. Okay, but there's enough in it that's really great until the programmer fixes it that you may want to have it anyway. To give an example, region, okay? Now we're going to default region. Let me show you here real quick. We're going to default region and all the trades to where they're going to be false on short enabled and long enabled, because when you pop a region up on that chart, that's saying longs enabled and shorts enabled. So let's go ahead and change this for today to default at false, okay? Because that's the way we would want it right there with this new region. So I simply hit insert, and there's my new region. Now, if I had had those both active, that might fire a long, and I don't really want a long, do I? Not yet, because I've got a magenta. I've got basically longer term. We do know that we've got basically resistance right up here. I could actually do something like this, but that's a pretty good sized box. Okay, and if you want to do that, we'll go ahead and do it, because if it does break up, it could still definitely head up at least to here. That would be a pretty decent trade. So let's turn it on, but we'll go ahead and turn it on like that. Okay, now we wanted our 5, 7, and 20, so I'm going to do 3 contracts. Okay, and this is going 1 time speed, which in the middle of the night is too slow actually. All right, now that new region that you'll be getting will make it to where you can have that active. Matter of fact, I can even change this. Let's say, for instance, on this chart, on this side, that we want to just simply go against the trend, but for 5 ticks. Let's do 5 across the board. Hopefully I can get this if it goes the other way. And we'll go ahead and do a region on it like so. And we'll do the opposite on it. We'll try to do a long for 5 ticks like we do our boxing in, right? It's exactly like we do our boxing in. Okay? If this was at the open of the market, I wouldn't be against this particular trade right here because it could easily blow up and head up. But anytime you trade counter trend, I would probably just simply do like a touch on this one of 1 outside because I'd want to get this fired in time that I could try to get 5 ticks. Okay, if you want to do it that way. Now, personally, I would be against this particular trade, so we don't have to do it. Okay, everybody's saying don't do it. All right, we won't. Let's see if we can get our trade that we want then instead. All right, and we'll see if this region works. And by the way, if this region doesn't work, we're going to get out of this trade pretty quick. Now, there's another thing you can do too, and that would be to have a chart over on this side. And what if you wanted to do like a PM short, but just simply try to get 5 ticks? See, our PM is green right now, so it would have to go red to get a trade. This would be a scalp over here, and this would be more of a scalp, a little bit better, and then a runner. Okay, that's if you want to trade 2 charts at once with ObjectTrader. PM2, simply if this turns red, it will fire a market order for 3 contracts for only 5 ticks. Okay, and this one will fire if it breaks the box. See, the way we designed our box, it has a top. Obviously, a box has a top. Box has a bottom, T for top, B for bottom. And this tells us that it's going to take a short on a close bar outside the box or a long on the close outside the box of the top. We can also set it any way we want it. We could actually even set it for a short at the top, like say touch plus, just to give an example, like 3. Maybe if this gets close enough to here, we could go ahead and fire inside the box. You can even do that with this ObjectTrader. Because what this is looking for, and we may not get it because it looks like it's getting a lower high, but if we had turned it on up here, we might have gotten that trade. Okay, see how it's doing the little predictor, didn't take out resistance. Okay, let's see if we can get a trade. Could this be a trend change trader? Well, it is a trend change trader, except the region won't be, Carl, because the reason for that is, it looks like we got our trade. We got 5 ticks on this one. We've got our scalp and our runner. What would we want to do with our runner? Well, our runner, we just get out of the way. Okay. Now, let me show you something that I personally like to do also. Let's say that you're in this trade. We haven't even gotten a scalp yet on this particular chart. Okay, let's wait to get a scalp at least, and then we're going to turn on a little stop. See if we get it. See how those power meters went red? Now that's still a little bit of a breakout trade, but it was going with the direction of the trend. Okay, that was a white with your magenta midband. So that's the type of trade we wanted on that. There we go. All right, now what I would personally do on this trade, what if this doesn't get down to where we want it to? Well, ObjectTrader has a feature built into it that I can simply do away with this region and go to a PM. Okay, let's go to PM2. All right, now you'll notice that PM2 is still red. So what if I want to get out of this one contract? If this decides to go against me, maybe it'll bounce, on a double bottom down here. We don't know yet. We know that we've got a bottom down here. Okay, what if it just barely takes it out and bounces? Okay, that's where that stop on that PM is really good. I like to use it, and you'll hear me say in the room a lot of times, I'm going to use PM as my stop. Okay, now on this particular version of ObjectTrader, you can also have your markets back. Okay, Notice how your version right now, you have to have these turned on to even fire a market order. Well, I don't like that, okay? And the reason I don't like that is because when I want to fire a market order, I want to fire a market order, okay? Let's see, do you use PM1 or 2 for stop usually? Well, Brian, if you're really going for like a longer term, you know how we get some of those 60, 70 tick runs? I like PM2 on those. Because if you use PM1, it's going to get you out of the trade too often, because PM1 is, to give an example, if this bar was to go down and break this little swing and then do a bar up a little bit higher low and then pop up and close, even though it didn't take out the previous swing, it would fire you out of your trade. This trade might go further. Watch PM1 and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, if we stair step down, you know, PM1 may work. Yeah, I didn't turn it on just yet, so I will turn it on. All right, so we're short, so we're going to do a long PM if it goes PM2 green. Now, we're not going to go long. We're just simply going to stop out of our trade. Okay, and then we'll get back in, because we don't know if this is going to go down yet. It just hit a predictor, so we may not get anything on this particular trade. See how predictor's saying that we should bounce right here? Well, we may bounce right here. Okay? Now, the reason I added the PM trades to UsingObjectTrader is because I wanted the ability to have something that people could do, like we draw lightning on the charts, but actually fire trades. Now, in a few minutes, I'll go over how to use the auto PM. And very shortly, this is going to not just be auto PM bar close. This will actually be auto practically everything. You know, you'll be able to do even a region if you want to. All right. Now, let me show you something here real quick too, that if you were trying to use trend, you'll notice that your long goes off because my trend is down. So if you want to use this as your stop, you'll have to make sure that's not on required trend. Okay, because I want my long on. Because if that power meter goes green on power meter 2, I might want out of this trade. Now, so far right now, see what I was talking about, Brian, on your question? This is actually getting you out a little bit prematurely because we don't know if this is going to go down a little bit further. It may not, okay, but see how it's kind of trying to roll over? Well, if it breaks a lightning 2, we'll get out of the trade and then we'll get back in it. Okay, notice how we got our 2 targets, $120 real quick. Now we may give, who knows, might give 8 ticks of it back. This looks fairly choppy. We'll find out. Now once a power meter has changed, you can't use it as your stop anymore until it goes red again. So if I wanted to use power meter 1 as my stop, I better just hit close. You see what I mean? Because power meter 1 changed on that bar. Okay, if power meter 2 looks like it wouldn't take it out until it takes out that, and that would be taking away looks like about 5 ticks of our trade, so we'd only be $70 on this trade, and that's not counting slippage, so we may get taken out of this. We'll find out. By the way, while I'm talking about all this, you know, if anybody has any questions, please be sure and ask them too. And if you've played with UsingObjectTrader quite a bit, you probably already know a lot of what I'm showing you here. Could you add 2 more to sell? Sure. Now keep in mind, if you go back above break even like this, you might want to get out and then get back in instead. See, this is actually looking to me like it's retracing pretty good. MG, you don't have to let your runner go negative. You could just simply, you know, this has already changed green. So if we want to close this, we certainly can. You want to? Or you want to wait for that bar to close? Should be safe because where it would turn back green is also an identified lightning swing. Yeah, because see, this is thrust retrace, and if it breaks that swing right there, that technically would obviously be even green again. Okay? So let's see what it does. We'll find out. How many of you are using power meter on your trades? Several of you, good. Okay. I like power meter especially to get out of a trade. Brian says, oh yeah. Okay. You want to just close this out and get back in it then? We did definitely get a power meter 1, but what if we get a 100 tick run? We don't know if that's going to happen yet, do we? Now, more than likely when it hits these predictors, they usually bounce. You'll notice, even on the negative side of it, see they bounce up. This is bouncing up a little bit right here. We're losing some ground right now. We could go ahead and kill this trade. Okay, power meter just went, is still red, so we're not out of the trade yet on power meter 2. We just got out. So still up fairly decently, okay? Let's see if we can get in again using UsingObjectTrader's power meter. It's saying that we've got a trade right here. We're red on our power meter. So let's go ahead and go power meter. Let's go 1. See if we can get power meter 1 on us right there. See if we can get a trade. This is like boxing them in, by the way. Notice that your little lightning swing is going like that right now. See, it hadn't even made that one because you haven't had you got to have a thrust, a pullback, and resume for lightning to draw. So in other words, when this comes down, this should go ahead and draw our lightning 1. But we can watch it in real time and just see when it flips to red too. If it flips to red. Now, one thing keep in mind though, you cannot go long with power meter now because it's already green. You would have to box it in to get this trade if it was to decide to break up. Okay? Because PM, once it changes a certain color, it has to flip the other way for you to use it again. In future versions, I'd like to actually just have it look live at lightning, and if it pops up, you go ahead and take the trade. It would look at it live. But for right now, it has to be a change type situation. Okay? See if we can get a little trade here. I think this is where a lot of people have the most anxiety in trading, when it's choppy like this. But a lot of traders that do really well kick their game up a little bit, to like, say 5 and 6 contracts and go for these little scalps. Notice how we didn't get our runner. We don't really care about that runner. But one thing you can do also, you'll notice that this particular trade did not do 12 ticks either, or we would have gone to break even. Now, where would this trade fire, everyone, if this decides to break down? You've got a thrust up, a little retrace. You're getting a lower high right now, right under there. It should fire if we get that trade. We'll see if we get it. We'll do that midnight blue. See if we get that trade. We're still looking at shorts though, right? Everybody sees that, I hope. We're choppy, but we're still looking at shorts. Can you also see though that when it's choppy like this, that if you wanted to, you literally use like power meter 1 would have gotten you long here, power meter 2 would have gotten you long here. So could you get a scalp even against the trend? And the answer is yes. Most times you can. But with that type of trade, you got to be really, really careful because you want to get in and out fairly quickly. See if we can get a trade. No power meter red yet. Might get one. Now this might not fire because that's actually got the same top over here. We'll see. We'll see if it sees this swing as lightning 1. It did form it, so that should be the swing at 47.93. Watch the power meter and see if we get it. Now I'm going to be going over this week quite a bit on how to use UsingObjectTrader. So today, who knows, we may only get over a few trades, but I want everybody to see how to use it where you can make good money with it. You know, pardon me. I didn't just have ObjectTrader designed to only take, box type trades. Designed it to take bar close trades. Designed it to take region type trades. Trend line, there you go. You just got your trade. Now see, that's a little late to me, but where would your stop have to be in this particular case? Well, probably right across there. Okay, let's see if we can get a little trade going on here. Would you have personally shorted one at the predictor? Yes, I would. And what you would do in a case like that, you just simply short it at bar close. Now it looks like we're going to get our scalp. Now usually when I'm trading, I'm looking, I might not even leave this at a scalp. See this line right here? It's going to get that. See it? That's a swing. Let's go ahead and get our target out of the way. All right. Now what we want to do, everyone, we want to turn on our stop. Power meter is red, so we'll just simply turn on power meter 2 to long, and it will simply get us out of this. Now keep in mind, when you reverse a trade or scale in or scale out, this is not going to fire 3 contracts. Okay, it's going to simply fire as many as I've got to get out. I'm going to go ahead and move my stop because we're just going to use this as our stop. Okay, let's see, would you, oh, already answered that one, good. Everybody seeing a little bit more how to trade this thing? Where is power meter 2 right now? Right there. That would get me out of that trade pretty much at cost. Oh, you can turn on reverse, absolutely. You want to try that? I'll show everybody how to use it. It may not work, but we'll try it. See, power meter 1 is green. Do we want out of this trade yet? I don't, because I've got a swing right there that's testing. Okay, now who knows, this may go ahead and come up and take us out anyway. Power meter 2. Yeah, if you wanted 3 contracts back to the other side, yes, that's what you'd want to do. Okay, now notice that power meter 1 is green, but we haven't been taken out on power meter 2. See there? See how that went green? That little blue line just barely took out this swing right here. That's where it fired. All right, but look, see, we still got power meter 2 is red. I like trading this particular way myself. It works quite well. But I'll usually, when I see that predictor and a bar rollover, I'll go ahead and get in 1 and check it out, because that also works quite well. Now what Kenneth was talking about, if you wanted to reverse this trade at a power meter 2, all you'd have to do is simply say, okay, power meter 2, I want to reverse you instead. And probably what I would do in that case would be to go for, say, 6 or 7, something like that, and reverse it by simply turning that on. Now, if you have required trend, it won't fire that trade. See there? That's turned off. So be sure required trend is not turned on. You want to see if we can reverse that one? We'll try it. I'm not against that. I'd more than likely say that you might get a scalp only, though. See, power meter 1 just went green. Now, usually if you're going to do, after a thrust like that, you're going to want to be really careful doing it with power meter 1, because like I say, power meter 1 is just simply the 4 range bars that try to go up. Okay? Now, this is the way you would use it to reverse the trade if this goes green. Now, would I really want to do this? Probably not. My predictor's right up here. Would I get 5 ticks? That's hard to say. We'll see. We'll see. If it turns red, turns green, we'll try it. We'll speed it up a little bit. Notice that I'm only risking 1 right now. Now, is that trade going to work out? I kind of doubt it. We'll see. That's why I don't personally like to reverse them. See, because you're feeling pretty good heat already. Look at that. It even missed my target of 5. I'd probably put my stop just under right there. Simply because, see there? See why you want to be careful doing that? All right, let's see if we can get back in it. We're going to do a power meter 2 since our power meter 1's already short. So I'm going to do a power meter 2 short. See if we can get a little trade. And I would probably, with that being like a double bottom, I'd probably protect some coin just in case. I'll bet you get higher lows now. It looks like that's a double bottom to me. One thing you could also do, don't even turn on power meter until you get closer to those mid bands. See how this mid band trade worked here? This mid band trade worked here. These are not working as well, are they? Because they don't go up to mid band. So I would probably, in a case like this, go ahead and put my stop above predictor, something like that right there, and just take a chance that this trade will work out, that it's still shorting, because right now you're retracing on a double bottom. And more than likely, if it took this out, I'd kill this trade. See, we're losing money now. That's not the way to trade it. See by reversing that where you gave up your money? Reversing against a trend like that is not the smartest way to trade, because you'll get yourself in a situation like that right there. See, that was still a short background. Matter of fact, I'm going to take my lumps here in just a second. I'm going to watch that swing right across. I'm out. See it? Coming back above resistance. So we're down $120. Now what do we do, everyone? What do you think? Well, let's see if we get a little thrust up. We're still looking at shorts so far, right? So let's see if we can get another trade. We'll see if we can get back our $120 and then some. This is getting closer to where we open the market. All right, power meter 1 and 2 are green. Let's go ahead and go. This is really close to the open. So I'm going to go ahead and take a chance with power meter 1 because that just hit a predictor. See if we can get our 120 bucks back. Everybody see why you don't want to do that as much against the trend? Because what's the definition of a trend to begin with? You've got lower highs and lower lows on a downtrend. And if you looked at this on the overall move of this, this had a high up here, thrust down, retrace, thrust down. If you kind of get away from the little peaks here, this is pretty much what it was doing right here. You had a thrust down, you had a retrace, right? And then you had another thrust down. All right. So was that actually a time to really short that, or pardon me, to go long when you hadn't even taken out that peak? And the answer is no. So see, that's how you can get yourself against the, you can get against everything and lose some money actually. Okay. Let's see if we can get it back though. I'm a little more aggressive trader, so I'm going to go 4 at the open and we'll see what we get. We're going with a PM1. If it fires, we're going to put our stop just above the swing. See the swing just being hit. And power meter 1 will fire if it takes out that bar right there. Yeah, if you go against the trend, I would probably recommend using PM1, but quickly, if you don't get your trade, I'd get out of it. Let's see, I wouldn't have taken that reverse either. Yeah. Oh, I agree, Kenneth, on that. Just wanting to show people that it can do it. And this is the problem here too. If a person goes against the trend, they get themselves, we had $500, by the way. Now we're going to have to get it back. I can tell you this, that more than likely with the trade calls in our room, I can get this back. Breaks that right there. We're going to fire us a little trade. We'll see if it does. It may take a few minutes for it to do it. It's no big deal. Power meter 1 still turned on. Still green. Can't take a long with power meter because it's already green. We could box it in if we wanted to. Looking for possibly a phantom. Got a swing right up here that you have your big thrust down retrace, big thrust down. So if this gets a lower high, you could still head down. Let's see, taking the PM too far from the mid-band or predictors is usually a poor idea. I agree, Mark. Yeah, that's one thing that I would highly recommend, and that's why we're designing this to begin with. You know, as soon as the programmer gets all of this that I want fixed, we want this trade, we want this trade, we want, well, probably not that one, we want this one, green, okay? Against the trend, that was actually not against it. Yeah, it was too. It was against the trend, so we wouldn't have taken that one. But yeah, what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's as close to mid-band or even higher than mid-band on a short, and the opposite on a long, you want it to be below mid-band and then rise back up. Otherwise, you'll end up owing your broker, say, another $30 or $40, and we're down 120 bucks. See, that's why you don't want to go against that. Power meter 1 would now change right here. Everybody sees that, right? There's our little box, by the way, that printed on Friday. That's your swing, though. Still got a red background so far, still got a phantom. Now, if this was to decide to really pop up, what would we want it to do, everyone? We want it to come down to probably this area right here, this larger swing, and bounce up if it was going to head up. If it's going to head down, we're going to break power meters. Is it going to go red? We'll find out. Not yet. There you go. Just got your power meter 1. Okay. Now, usually, if you get something like a phantom, you can really put everything down around mid-band because, as a rule, mid-band will get hit on these pullbacks. If this decided to bounce up, it would have to come to mid-band and then try to bounce up. Okay, which it could easily do. Now, at the open, if you wanted to try this, you want to try to reverse it at mid-band? If you wanted to do that, this is the way you do it. Turn on long, reverse it, and if that goes green, we'll just try to do like 5, 5, and 5. 5, 5. No, I'm not going to do that yet because that's just right up there at the resistance. Let's see if it'll roll over first. We're not going to turn that on. There we go. We rolled over. We can turn it on now. Because if it does hit its head at this mid-band, we could easily pop up for a quick, say, 5 ticks. Right? So far, it's just dawdling around. We got 40 bucks back. Let's see. So you take the first time into Phantom with a, well, you can do a bar close, or you can, the Phantom, you could wait like 2 bars to give an example. You know, 2 bars don't necessarily have to be 8 ticks. Sorry, just one sec. Sorry about that. Didn't turn off that phone. All right, so if this was to decide to go ahead and reverse on us, remember at the open they can do about anything, okay? Power meter 1 would get you in right here to try to go to the top. If it keeps going down, you could get a reversal and still very possibly get 5 ticks. Let's see if we can get that. Reversal, PM1. Power meter 1 still red. I'm going to move my stop because we don't care about it because we're going to actually reverse this trade if it takes out power meter 1. Because right at the open, we don't know if this is going to continue heading down or like a lot of times, you got a thrust, retrace, thrust. We could get a quick trade right above there. They could very well go up and check this swing. Now, I don't mind using reversal like around a mid-band because that's like boxing it in. We got 290 again. I'll show you if this does happen to get a reversal. We don't have it yet because your lightning is still red. If it goes green, it'll reverse the trade. There you go. There you go. And let's go ahead and just do it for a scalp because we're still against the trend. We've got a rose-colored mid-band, and I'd probably tighten this up pretty good just in case, like a third candle back. We had 290. We're back to 290 again. I'm just trying to do a little scalp. And then let's do this. If it happens to make power meter go green, we will go ahead and reverse it again. This is a tad on the choppy side, isn't it? That's what happened to you right there with your real account too. There's times where they just can't make up their mind which direction they want to go. There we go. We got, let's see, we just flipped power meter. Doggone it, I just missed that. So I'm going to go ahead and short power meter 1 if it turns reverse, just in case, because that actually kind of popped down fairly quickly. So we would get reverse if it happened to stake out that little box. And if we hit our targets, we'll turn it back on anyway. There we got our targets. So let's just go ahead and turn on power meter 1. Still got a magenta background, kind of sideways, so it could go either way. See if we can get any kind of a reversal. We got 370 again. See, the one thing I highly advise, and it's up to the individual if they want to do it, but our indicators are pretty darn good. And, to go against this trend is not real smart because right now this trend is sideways, but it's more sideways to the downside so far, isn't it? See, we've got a thrust, retrace, thrust. That never took that out. Let's see if we can get another trade. I'll get rid of this lightning because that's kind of annoying. Lightning 1, isn't it? Okay. See if we can get us a trade. PM1 seems to be safer than a 1, 2, 3 candle box. It is actually. I think it's quite a bit safer. Because what's the whole idea of trading to begin with? See, right now, you've got a little trend up, right? Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, like a little lightning up, right? But you've got a background and you just hit a predictor that's telling you pretty much that you're still trying to head down. Now, I'd usually be in this trade already because it hit that predictor perfectly. Okay, you could get in on like that bar right there and put your stop just above it. Okay, this is a little bit more of a conservative trade because if this goes red, we're going to take those 3 contracts with power meter. And again, that's why we designed this little tool. I like this little tool right here because it will make you some coin. You don't necessarily have to go for gusto trades on every single trade. Look at that. We're up pretty decently, aren't we? Now, we want to get our runner out of the way, right? And let's go ahead and get our stop. We don't care about our stop. I'm going to turn on power meter to long, but I'm not going to reverse it. Okay, the reason I'm not going to reverse it is because I want to see if I can, either stay in this trade for the long haul or maybe even get back in it. Okay, let's see if it'll work. Power meter 2 would have to change to green. It may do it, and then we'll get back in it if it does. Still red. You can tell where this is going, everyone, can't you? It's going right here. Power meter 2 is a little bit stronger, so let's draw it from up here. That's power meter 2 so far. See, now if it doesn't do at least 2 bars in a row, you notice that line's still heading up so far. Okay, power meter 2 just went green, so we're flat on our trade. Okay, so let's go ahead and short it again if we get a power meter 2 back to the downside. And it looks like we just did. Okay, stop would have to be, well, let's put it at middle of that predictor right there. It's going a little higher. I know it's going to go to that line. You could tell it was going to that line. That's a swing, isn't it? Now we're feeling a little bit of heat on this because we got stopped out by even using power meter 2. See, sometimes even power meter 2 is not the smarter way to get out of the trade because all it takes to change it is just those 2 bars up, 2 bars down, and then a closed bar. And it happened to do that, when it took this out up here. But we got back in, so I guess we're okay. Okay, let's see if we can get the rest of this trade. I'll go ahead and turn on power meter 1 to the upside. Get our target out of the way. Power meter 2 to the upside, that is. Get our stop, we don't care. Power meter 2 would have to change to green. See how 1's already changed green. We might not want out on 1. See there? See, it's still heading down. Now you just got stopped out on it. That's actually moving about 30 times, so I'll slow it down just a little bit. You want to try to get back in it? All right, let's see. We'll go short with power meter 1 and see if we can get that trade. Now keep in mind that this has already run its course quite a bit, so this is a little riskier trade. Okay, if it doesn't get up to mid-band at least. It is getting up to predictor though. See it right there? Now there's another feature on ObjectTrader called bar close that if you want to use it, this looks like a bar close area to me. But we'll just use the lightning scripts. A little bit safer. Gosh, it's already been an hour. Can y'all believe that? Is anybody learning a little bit how to use ObjectTrader though? Pretty good little tool. The main thing that you want to do on your trades is you want to make sure that you've got a runner, but also, there we go, you just got a trade again. Okay. Let's get our runner out of the way, get one of our targets down at the bottom. It's good enough on the first one. Look to the left to trade the right. You do have a swing right here on top, which they've already touched. Got another one right down here at 23. Let's see if we can get the rest of this trade. learning about how to use PM. PM's a good one too. I like PM. You know, the one thing about it, if you can see a resistance area like on a short and you know that PM's going to change, you can always not use PM to get out of the trade. Just do the lines like we draw in the room. But keep in mind when they start double bottoming like this little trade right here, you know, you don't know if it's going to go all the way up to here. See, looking to the left to trade the right. We don't know that yet. There's no way to know that yet. But we do know that PM changed to red. Now you want to do something else, you can do this also. Add if that goes red. See, because PM2 is green, and if it goes red, I could go ahead and add 3 contracts if I wanted to. Everybody sees that, right? And you'll notice that if it does change to red, it'll go to 6 contracts. Now, I'm not recommending at this juncture that you would do that, but let's just watch it and see what it does. Power meters. Totally the reason we designed them on ObjectTrader was because we've taught Lightning now for 8 years straight. Let's see, we didn't get that add-on. Not sure exactly why, because power meter did go red, but Lightning may not have closed that bar. That's what it is right there. It'll add the contracts when it does. Nope, didn't do it. So not sure exactly why that didn't go ahead and add like we wanted it to. Oh, was my SE turned off? I thought it just went off. Well, I wouldn't probably add them here, but let's make sure it fires. If it gets power meter red. Speed this up a little bit. It's only going 4 times normal speed. Running just a little bit over, but I want to at least finish a trade and also ask some questions, you know, about what everybody's favorite tool is on ObjectTrader. If there's certain things you want to know about how to use it, because I don't mind being here just a little bit longer. That's not a problem for me. There you go. We just added some contracts. You can clearly see they added. Now, usually what I do in a case like that is I'll go ahead and get rid of the bulk of those contracts fairly quickly, just simply because, well, you don't want to go 20 ticks back on 4 contracts. That's $800. That'd get you back to 3. See what I mean? And I'm going to get this out of the way. Our stop just right up here. See if we can go ahead and keep heading down. Yeah, we can actually do this too. Let's go ahead and turn on. To get rid of 4, everybody knows, right? You'd have to turn 4 contracts on. See here? If I wanted to get out of a power meter 1, to give an example, if this happens to go green. Or I could use PM2. Well, we did use PM2. There it is. We're flat. Everybody see how to use this great little tool? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Now notice that we went from negative, well, we actually were up about 500 some odd dollars. Then we went negative 120 because we were showing how to, if you wanted to reverse a trade. And I'm not recommending doing that. Okay, now if they're at particular, you know, levels of support or something like that, and you can draw a line and you want to reverse a trade, I wouldn't even use a meter. I'd just hit a market order. But if you're going to use the tools, be sure and use them more to when they get around the mid-band for shorts, you know, even above, just as long as you got your, see how Phantom's stepping down, stepping down, stepping down. It's even stepping down still. Okay. When would we want to take this trade long? Anybody? If this was to break, draw your lightning 3 on your chart. Let's go back one more time to this little chart, and I'm going to get rid of lightning 2 and lightning 1, and we've got lightning 3 on our chart, and I'm going to get rid of these predictors. All right, I'm going to draw this manually right now because this is going from green to green, so it won't draw it, but I'm going to draw it manually just so we can see it. You're still heading down, right? I'll just go ahead and do it in blue just so we'll know that it's not drawn by the indicator itself. Okay, when would this actually change back to the upside? Anyone on oil? Well, you could look at your resistance here. You could look at your resistance up here, right? And let's look at it on the chart so we can see the actual prices. I would say that if it does take this out, that's above mid-band, and comes back and kisses it and goes up, that would be a good shot at it. You'd be looking for this. You'd be looking for the pullback. We're not thrust traders as a rule. And then you would be looking for this if it was to decide to head up. If it continues down, you're going to take out this swing here, and you're going to keep trucking down. Let's do it in 500 times and just real quick see what it does. I'm not going to trade it, just going to simply watch it. Okay, it broke resistance. You're still got a downtrend so far, right? You are thrusting up, just like we talked about. Background still magenta. Midband still red, right? When does this change trends? It looks like it's going to. Looks to me like it's going to. Right there, it came down to support, didn't it? I'd probably do this. See how it came down to support, thrusts up, pulls back, just like we said, and then you get you a little trade. And why did I do that right then? Because if it was going to continue down, it should have continued down. It broke what we call lightning 3, and what did it do? It thrusted up, it pulled back into it. Now, if you're one of those that wants to wait a little bit longer, obviously, you've got to wait. This particular trade is one of our favorite, remember? Thrust up, pull back into mid-band. Could you have taken it there on lightning 1? Yes. Okay, and that's how you can use this power meter feature on ObjectTrader, right? Absolutely a great feature. Let's see, just one sec. Question coming in. Would you take the PM1 to the upside? You could. Yes. Matter of fact, see, it's still heading up. Where would this trade more than likely hit its head? Anyone? And then we'll go ahead and wrap. Let's get rid of lightning 1. Lightning 2 is that. All right. Where would this more than likely hit its head for another good trade? Well, predictor's saying right here. I'm seeing a swing right here, so I'm going to say right there. And I would also draw a line right here at mid-band. I would look for a bounce here for an aggressive trade, and I'd look for a bounce at mid-band, okay, for a PM trade. Okay, so if this was to come down and bounce off this predictor, I would fire a trade, okay, because that's where support is. But if it comes down to mid-band, which I like even better, then I would actually let it do a little box, and that's when that PM will kick in and give you, I would think, a pretty good trade. You'll be able to see it on Sunday night because this is already past hours now. So you'll see this trade in real time on Sunday night. All right, did everyone enjoy the webinar? I hope I didn't run over too long. All we got to really talk about tonight was a little bit, today that is more of the PM type trade. Let's see, you were saying the new OT will let you fire market, buy, sell without LE. Yes, Ed, and what we're going to do, my programmer told me in the last Skype that I actually got from him that he is absolutely pinky swear promising me that he's going to fix these little issues that I was talking about by Sunday night. And he just basically said, Gary, I need a little bit more time on this. I will be able to have this done for you. I promise on the weekend, just having a struggle with time and 2 kids adjusting. And see, he just had a brand new little baby, so that's part of the problem. He just didn't get it finished before he had the little baby, which, you know, I don't know actually why that happened or whatever, but we're kind of stuck in limbo. But the only one I know of that can do this is that gentleman there. Okay, let me just show you real quick the things that will not work quite properly if you want, and anybody can leave if they want to. This is being recorded. But I want to show you real quick what we're also trying to fix on this. I'm going to back this up just a little bit so we can actually have a little trade, and I'll show you real quick what's not working properly in it. Bear with it just a second. Hopefully I don't lose my colors and everything. Sometimes do on Market Replay. Still loading. Hopefully it didn't lock up. The one thing that's not working on the new region is the reversal type trade. Okay? Because what the deal is with the reversal type trade, there we go. Yeah, we're still way back up here. That's okay. What I'll just show you real quick is how the region feature. If you put region up on your chart, you'll notice we're not going to take this trade obviously, but let's just pretend that we're boxing it in right here. For all, we would have done it here obviously. Okay, but if I turn on region with long, short, and reverse, okay, when this fires a trade long above this, my short goes off, and I don't want it to do that. Now, when it fires a short, the long does not go off. Let me see if I can simulate that. We may be out of time. We'll find out. Don't pay attention to the price because we're not going to take this trade obviously in real, but I want to show you what region does. If this goes short, the long will stay on, but if it goes long, the short goes off, and we've got to fix that. Bear with it just a second. We'll just do a touch. If it even touches outside, we'll fire it. There you go. Notice how the short went off? Well, I don't want that to go off when it's in like an auto mode. Okay? Now, what we'll see, this fired a short, so the short went off, but if it would have fired a long, the short would have stayed on. He's got to fix that. Now, the features that you will like on it, though, is the fact that you can use your markets. All of this can be turned off. It doesn't even matter. You can fire markets to your heart's content. Okay? Just like that. Okay? So, wow, look at that. So the new one will have the ability to go ahead and do these markets and everything by just simply clicking them. Okay? So the only thing we're really trying to fix in it right now is I want the region to be able to work on all the reversals, and he's also working on the wedge to do the same thing. Okay? Because, for instance, if I drew a wedge on this chart like down here, like so, let's just draw just a funky one for the fun of it. Let's just say that you were looking at something like that at the time. Okay? And let's say that this would have popped through here and gotten you a short. Well, I want it to also be able to reverse if it happens to go back up through this line. And see, that would have actually reversed it. Okay, so I want even on wedge to be able to do this. Okay, so once he gets that done, we'll release it, or I'll release it before that, because you can still use this trader much better than the one you have. Because with that region being able to be active on that chart at just a touch of a button, like so, and be able to stretch it, move it, anything you want, that's live, that's worth its weight in gold. Okay? And you don't have that just yet. All right, don't pay attention to the P&L there. That was simply doing those markets with no data. All right, thanks everyone. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on Monday morning. Thanks for being a part of Viper, and as always, we're trying to get these things better and better and better for you. Okay? This is the way I would trade this trade, by the way. Long enabled, touch +2, and if it touches there, I'd fire a trade. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you on Monday. Sorry I ran about 20 minutes long. David, on your question, well, with the new region, it won't actually turn off, but if you're not using it on reverse, these will turn off. Okay, so in other words, if you fired a long, let's say, and you had the new region, it'll turn that long off, so you won't be firing another long trade. Now, if you had the box drawn like so, and you fired, say, a long up in here, let's just say you had it boxed here and you got this trade, well, it would get you out of the trade if you had it drawn like this, if it took out that swing, because short would still stay on, but it would just mean you would scale out. You can always turn that off, obviously. Okay, thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Any questions at all, I'll be around. Bye now.